This year we have partnered with Ernst & Young, EY, our lovely presenting partner. Oh, we actually have a very special guest. He's sitting at the table with me and chatting me up, and then I completely forgot. Oh, just that guy, you know, in the corner. Lovely. So we do have a very special guest joining us here this morning, and it's an absolute pleasure every time I get to see this man, because he always lights up the room, and he's always so passionate about what we do and what we do as a community and what we do as an organization as we move things forward and work with our partners and our government agencies to really put supplier diversity and on the radar of many different corporations. It's with great pleasure to introduce the special advisor to the Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, Mr. Randy Boissonneau.
Well, thanks very much, Danny. Mio totakuin tatawa. That is Cree for guests. You are welcome. There is room here. And if we were in my part of the world, Edmonton, Alberta, on Treaty 6 lands, and if my great-grandmother, full-blooded Cree woman Lucy Brenneyes were here, she would probably welcome you in exactly that same way. And so it's an honor to be here on Treaty 13 lands and the lands of the Métis people. Thank you, CGLCC, to the board members, to the certified and affiliated companies, to all of the allies. You are truly making a difference in our country and around the world, and we want to see more, and we want to see you continue to be unstoppable. That word, unstoppable, is what coursed through my veins when I started my first company. When we built our first NGO called Literacy Without Borders to help people learn how to read and get them out of the gangs in Belize. When we defied the odds and took on a conservative opposition and elected the first openly gay member of parliament in the Liberal Party, balding francophone, me, to represent Edmonton Centre in the Canadian Parliament, first openly gay MP elected from Alberta. It is the word that I've used on the Hill every single day, first to build the Energy and Environment Caucus so that we can get things built across this country. And it's the word that we use to get the pride flag raised by the Prime Minister on Parliament Hill for the first time in this country's history. And it is the word that has guided the LGBTQ2 Secretariat every single day of its existence. And when the Prime Minister asked me to serve as his special advisor on LGBTQ2 issues, I said, "Is that really what you want?" After I said, "Boss, you know I'm speechless," he said, "Oh, Randy, we both know that won't last too long." And I said, "Boss, will there be money?" He said, "See, I told you you're becoming a really good member of parliament." There is money, there are people, but we have to have coordination, we have to have allies, we have to have voices. You have to keep pushing us. And that's why we got C-16 passed in the House of Commons. Trans people are now protected by the law and in the Canadian Human Rights Act, thanks to the work that we have done in the last 3 years, and thanks to the community saying it is time. We have taken the blood ban from 5 years to 3 months, and we are not done yet. We have led the first LGBTQ2 trade mission to the United States, and we will not stop there. And there are alumni from that very trade mission right here in the room today. We have just announced $3 million to Toronto, Montreal, and Vancouver Prides over 2 years so that your prides can attract more people to your cities, and every other pride in the country can apply to their regional development agency to have more money than ever before to bring more people to Canada, because if Canada cannot be a beacon for LGBTQ2 rights, then I don't know many countries in the world that can be. N'est-ce pas? It is why Mélanie Joly, Minister of Tourism, included in the strategy for tourism, the new Canada-wide 10-year tourism strategy, LGBTQ2. Whether you're in rural remote, whether you're in Toronto, whether you're in Yellowknife, LGBTQ people want to come to Canada, and we need your businesses to welcome them. Are you ready for the challenge? It is why we heard the call of LGBTI people around the world who said, we need more from Canada. We need you to help our LGBTI groups on the ground because too many people are being jailed. Too many people are being abused. Too many people are being tortured. And we held the Equal Rights Coalition meeting here, the summit, because we're co-chairs with Chile until later this summer. And at the summit, civil society told us we're not doing enough, and I agreed. And so Chrystia Freeland and I convened a meeting of some 20 CSOs, civil society organizations, and we worked with Marie-Claude Bibeau, Minister of International Development at the time, and we created a $30 million fund over 5 years and $10 million a year ongoing so that Canadian civil society organizations can step up and do more in the international space. We are now 5th in the world in terms of what this country is committing to the international community, and that's thanks to people like you in this room who advocated. $30 million, $10 million a year ongoing to help more people exercise and live their rights fully. And the one that will interest Daryl and the board members most is the $20 million fund that we got for local organizations. Never in the history of this country have seniors, queer people of color, trans organizations, business organizations been able to apply to the federal government. And that starts this year. That starts this summer. It is $20 million over 2 years. We will flow $2 million this year. We will flow $10 million next year. We will flow $8 million the year after. This is a down payment on time that is long overdue. That is what you've asked us to do. That is what we will do. And should I come back in the 43rd Parliament, because let's make no bones about it, this is an election year. Maybe you can tell by my speech. Red tie, too. Should I come back in the 43rd Parliament, and should we come back in the 43rd Parliament, we will work with you, and there will be supplier diversity in the land, and that supplier diversity will include the LGBTQ2 community, it will include Indigenous peoples, it would include veterans, it will include women, visible minorities, and persons with disabilities. We need your help. Shall we do this together? Okay, I'm done. Let me end with a story before he pulls me off the stage. We recently launched the Equality Coin. So this is the 50th anniversary of the decriminalization of homosexuality. Yes, we have more to do. Yes, we still persecuted people, and we apologize for that, and we never will do that again. But on a loonie coin now, 3 million coins in circulation, is an image of 2 people. Might be 2 men, might be 2 women, might be 1 and 1. And we celebrated this unveiling with the Mint at the 519 here on Church Street. And we had a whole bunch of school kids that came to ask questions of me and the finance minister. And we learned that a 9-year-old boy skipped class to come to that event. Skipped class just to show up. And we got to him and he said, look, why did you skip class to come here? He said, I had to come here to stick up for my 2 dads. It's the first time I ever saw them on anything official from the government of Canada. That's what we're fighting for. That's what you're fighting for. That's why what you do matters. Keep going, be more diverse, be unstoppable. Together, we are unstoppable. Merci.
I rarely say this to anybody that's not me, but you need to calm down, sir. Thank you so much, Randy, and thank you so much for coming and spending some time with us this morning. Spending some time with us. This was such a treat to have you here and chatting with us, and that you heard it here, folks. Supplier diversity is in the campaign plan for the government, and I would like us all to write that down and send an email to Randy reminding him that supplier diversity is in the government campaign for next year, which means I'm going to be busy. Very exciting. So tell your friends. So let's move right along. Something brand new to the 3rd Annual Global Business Summit. Something we were looking forward to all year as we worked with Ernst & Young, our partners, to develop our first ever live pitch competition to happen here at our Global Business Summit. As we've done our semifinal rounds throughout the year, 3 different rounds utilizing Ernst & Young's judges, as well as all of their technology that they use in their telepresence and whatnot, engaging entrepreneurs across Canada and giving them the opportunity to hone their skills and develop their pitches for this competition. And we were lucky enough to have 3 fantastic finalists. From Vancouver, Canada, we have Kai Scott with TransFocus Consulting. From right here in Toronto, Patrick Hunter of Patrick Hunter Art and Design. And from Edmonton, Alberta, the one and only Connie Connie Stacy from Growing Greener Innovations. So what will happen now is I will introduce our lovely friend and partner, Lori Benson from Ernst & Young, who will discuss this competition.
Okay, that was going to be a really hard act to follow. Yeah, I don't have millions of dollars, but you know what? We have passion. And EY is truly my why. I don't know if anybody here knows Simon Sinek, and he's all about the pursuit of why. And this is my why. This is the passion, and I'm so fortunate to work with an organization that gives me the ability to follow my why, and hopefully bring some new passions for some great entrepreneurs to do some fabulous pitching for us. So I want to first acknowledge and thank our table of judges. I know each one of them had a lot of confusion. What are you asking me to do? But they all came, so just a thank you to our judges. So we have Lindsay, Colin, Daryl, Gabby, some guy named Zach in the corner there, Alan, and Miriam. So welcome and thank you so much for being here today. It really means a lot. We've worked with these entrepreneurs over the last year, and it really started as, well, let's just get going. And so we're just going to get going. This print is extremely small, and I'll do my very best, but if I stumble, please forgive me. So the finalists came from 3 different pitch sessions that we had, and we picked a finalist from each one. And this is the final pitch off. And for, you already heard who the individuals are, and they're going to present their pitches today. They have a maximum of 10 minutes to present. Yes, they can do 6 minutes if they've got it all in. And then we're going to take a couple of minutes, and then we'll begin the next pitch. We're not asking any questions through this process. We did that through the other pitches, but this one is just simply get up, do your pitch, and just knock it out of the park. So after the pitches, then we are going to compile the results. We will leave the room, and the winners will be announced at lunch. So good luck to all the participants, and now I'm just going to go right ahead and introduce our first one. So TransFocus Consulting provides transgender resources to policymakers, employers, and leaders across diverse sectors. We work, TransFocus works collaboratively with companies to identify where there may be current gaps and opportunities to strengthen your organizational commitment to transgender inclusion across 5 key areas, including gender records, washrooms and change rooms, gender data, products and services, marketing and communications. TransFocus Consulting will pitch on providing services that will support the EY HR department in reviewing and updating their current internal policies and procedures to ensure they are meeting the needs of the trans and non-binary community. So Kai, if you would like to come up.
Thank you so much. Good morning. My name is Kai Scott, and I am CEO of TransFocus Consulting. TransFocus operates across North America and applies systems thinking to develop solutions for gender diversity issues. We are an industry leader with proven processes and solutions. We have worked with over 150 companies. We have over half a decade of implementation experience. We have a team of 5 consultants that span the gender spectrum, including people who are trans women, non-binary people, trans men, as well as Two-Spirit people. And of course, we are very proud to be a diverse supplier with the Canadian Gay and Lesbian Chamber of Commerce. We've also worked with multinational companies across North America, some household names that you might recognize, SAP, Mozilla, TD Bank, Blue Cross, just to name a few. A bit more about myself. I'm a social scientist by trade, and I have previously worked in the mining industry, and I have 15 years of experience doing multi-stakeholder, large-scale, complex stakeholder analysis. I've also compiled complex data sets to look at the social nuance of issues pertaining to the mining industry. This is not just, so about 5 years ago, I decided to apply this skill set to the emerging trans issues that I saw and to develop solutions. And so I don't just have technical acumen, I also have lived experience. I'm a transgender man. That means I was assigned female at birth, and I identify as a man. So this is not just a theory to me, this is my real lived experience that I can lend to the important issues of trans inclusion. And so I know what needs to be done with and how to do it, because I'm actually a self-identified data nerd, so I love compiling solutions on complex issues. So I'm here today to pitch to you EY, an in-depth trans inclusion plan that will position you as industry leader among the Big Four. To date, none of the Big Four have done anything in terms of in-depth trans inclusion work. And so as a result, this is an opportunity for you to be a leader among them and to beat out your competition. So today I hope to present very quickly what the problem is, how to solve it, and what TransFocus can do to help EY with that. First of all, I have some bad news. Plain and simple, you have a problem that you don't know you have, which is the worst kind of problem to have. And, and there's two parts to this problem. There's debilitating fears as well as organizational blind spots, and I'll go through them very quickly. These are some common phrases we hear from leaders time and time again. They're nervous, they're hesitant, they don't want to say or do the wrong thing, and so as a result, they hold back and they don't say anything or do anything, which is the worst thing. We don't want that. We want leaders to lean in, but leaders are not equipped with what to do, and so they want to do better, but they don't know how. Also, you have some organizational blind spots. These are areas in which trans people experience exclusion, unintentional exclusion, but exclusion nonetheless. And unfortunately, these are largely invisible to the organization. And they include gender data, gender records, communications, products and services, as well as facilities, so washrooms and change rooms. And what we find is that trans people are getting caught in these areas within your organizations. So let's do a quick quiz to see how ready EY is to adopt trans, or to be more trans inclusive. So in your minds, just answer the question in terms of, are your managers ready to deal with the following situations? So a new employee comes to you and shares that his name is Tony, and then hands you an ID that has Tanya on it. What do you do? A non-binary employee comes to you with a gender marker X on it and asks why your employee forms only have male and female response options. What do you do? You have an employee that refuses to use they, them pronouns for a colleague, saying it's grammatically incorrect or it's too difficult. You have a trans woman who would like to join the Women in Leadership program. How do you support her? And you have a female employee that comes to you and says she feels unsafe using the washroom with, quote, a man. So if your managers at EY are not equipped or ready to respond to these issues in a meaningful and coordinated way, then EY is not only at risk of legal action, but also of losing really top talent. So this is a very key issue. So don't be left behind or stumped based on these issues. The tide is changing. So we've got legal changes with the Canadian Human Rights Act, which Randy mentioned previously, which thankfully added gender identity and expression to the Human Rights Act to be more trans inclusive. We've also got a wave of provinces that have adopted gender X to their driver's licenses, which is fantastic recognition for non-binary people, but unfortunately a lot of workplaces are built on binary-only systems, only for men and women, and so as a result they're stumped in terms of how to fold that in. There are also emerging trends that you should be aware of and also to get ahead of. So you've got 84% of Canadians that are in support of trans rights, according to Agnes Reid's poll. You've also got your incoming workforce that is far more equipped and understanding of trans issues and have certain expectations, including 70% of Gen Zs that expect a gender-neutral washroom in the workplace, along with 56% of Gen Zs that know of someone with gender-neutral pronouns. So, what are the solutions? It's not a quick and easy fix. It does require a deliberative and process, and it's not just about trans people, it's also about people of different gender expressions. It's also not just about human resources, even though it is about employees. You also need to dovetail with various other parts of the organization, communications, IT, facilities. And you want to integrate that across your whole organization. It's also not just about education. Oftentimes we have people come to us and say, they think that they'll solve the problems by doing a 1 hour, 2 hour session. Unfortunately, you need to solve issues of both structures as well as culture. And so both of those work together in tandem, and we have the solutions for that. In fact, we have a 3-phase process that we undertake with, that we would like to undertake with EY, including an interdepartmental team that we'll establish as part of phase 1. Phase 2 is a discovery process where we'll undertake interviews, focus groups, surveys. Essentially, we're trying to surface the issues that trans people face and also figure out whether there are solutions that are viable and meaningful. And then in phase 3, we develop a fulsome set of recommendations for solutions that are tailored to EY. So the 3-phase process. So my final question in closing is, are you ready to embark on a journey with TransFocus to be the leader in solving the issues that are largely invisible to the organization with regard to trans people? If so, TransFocus has important know-how that we'd love to share with EY, and I also have a capability statement that I'll hand out to you for more information. So let's talk. Thank you very much.
What's that? I'll do the little dance. I'm okay. I'm okay.
I know we're a little bit behind, so I hope you don't mind. I only took about 30 seconds there for our 2 minutes. You'll thank me later, I know. Okay, so we're going to go on with our next pitch contestant, or I guess participant is a better word. Growing Greener is a company that is dedicated to producing clean technology to give their customers solutions for portable power and contribute to a cleaner environment. Connie Stacy is an Edmonton-based entrepreneur designing and producing green products to power everything from outdoor pursuits and travel, remote locations, security, surveillance, and emergency backup. Connie is also dedicated to creating microsystems to help give solar power and clean water to people without access to power in the developing world. EY's advisory team has been engaged by a client. This is the pitch for Connie. So the advisory team has been engaged by a client to oversee the development of a new hospital in Nunavut. EY will be handling the procurement of major contracts and services on behalf of the client with a specific mandate to ensure the hospital is carbon neutral. Connie has been invited to pitch to EY on providing power cells to their client for the new hospital.
They didn't tell me that.
So, Connie.
Am I on? Am I on? I'm on. I have to tell you, it's really hard to follow somebody who's so well dressed. Wow. I'm going to talk to you after about where you get your clothes. So I'm Connie Stacy. I'm the president and founder of Growing Greener Innovations. I'm here to talk to you about the Greener Power System. I have a little video this morning to start off with. So if we could get the video, please. There we go. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about the problem that we're facing. So a lot of people in Canada don't recognize the issues that are faced globally with power. We're very fortunate. We actually have a triple redundancy power system. When the power goes out, it's usually for a pretty short period of time, and then boom, we're back on. And when we don't have that, we have systems like diesel generators to kick in and get us the power we need. Now, that's not the case for most of the world. There's more than 1.2 billion people who have zero access to power, and another 2.6 billion people who don't have enough energy to cook in any way other than burning some kind of a biomass. That's a huge problem environmentally. So when we look at those problems and what we're facing, a lot of them have to do with things like remote areas. So when we talk about the far north, when we talk about areas that have been isolated because of their region, we look at things like temporary work sites where we have people going out to work at a site. Well, what do? Well, we fire up a diesel generator. That's not a sustainable approach. And it's also a very expensive approach. The further away you are from a major center, the more expensive it becomes to bring in things like diesel to run those generators. On top of that, we have increasing natural disasters and so forth, extreme weather, storms, tsunamis, hurricanes, you name it. But our traditional approach through building grids and microgrids is extremely expensive. Partly because we spend so much money on electricians and engineers to do custom systems for every installation we do, and high cost transmission lines. What we do is literally less than a third of the cost, even on our biggest systems, compared to what the World Bank states as the average cost of installed energy storage systems. Oop, there we go. So what we do really focuses in particular on three things. We interviewed a lot of people and we looked at problems all around the world about energy, and there were three things that were consistent. Whatever we did had to be plug and play, because we don't know that if you're, let's face it, if you're in sub-Saharan Africa, your next door neighbor's not an electrician. They're not hooking that up for you and they're out fixing it for you. Two, it had to be scalable. So there's a thing in the industry called the watt addiction. Our energy demands keep growing and growing, and after all, if we get a family to energy tier 1, we sure hope they're going to go to energy tier 2 and 3 and 4 and build better quality. And a third, it had to be portable. That's our society. We move. Lord help you if your cell phone dies while you're out on a business trip or in the middle of the day. It's a big deal, and those are the three things that were so absolutely essential to any kind of a power system, and that's what we did. And we have a patent on our system. We're the only people in the world who meet these three criteria. There we go. So the system itself works like Lego. So our smallest units are literally no bigger than this. It fits in my back pocket. Paired with small folding solar panels like this guy here, this with a couple of LED bulbs will take a family to energy tier 1 at under $100. That's game changing for people in remote regions. Our business model, we have a couple of things we do. In general, we work through distributors with our smaller systems. In remote areas, we sometimes do the pay-per-use kind of thing like you see with cell phones. And then we work with large companies where we go and we do direct systems for large things like hospitals in remote areas. Part of our go-to-market is we're really focusing on the fact that it's a clean technology, that it's silent, and that you can get your power anywhere. Our channels are direct sales, our segments are governments and off-grid distributors, and our market is we're doing a number of pilot projects right now, pretty much across the globe. I think we have something in almost every continent at this point. Right now, what's currently available is gas or diesel generators, loud and expensive and terrible on the environment. You can get some solar generators, so things that are batteries, but they can't be scaled. So you get them to energy tier 1, and great, they want to advance their life, they have to scrap what they have and afford a bigger system. And the third, of course, is microgrids. Extremely expensive. We're talking over $2,100 per kilowatt hour installed. Our retail price is $600 for a kilowatt hour. And that's not volume. We have a really strong management team, so we have experience with some of the best advisors and people in the market, including guys like Rick Williams, who was the former COO of Baby Gourmet, was the chief marketing officer for Motorola, and so forth. So really strong team backing us. And if you're not sure, you can ask one of our customers or look to some of our awards. So we're very fortunate in the last couple of years to receive a number of awards, including a U.S. Department of Defense Innovation Award, We're going to be featured at the end of June on a CNBC show called The Advancement, so you can check it out for yourself. You got a little taste of the voiceover there, and so forth. So come talk to me. You need it. I got it. Thank you.
They're still all heads down, yeah, good, okay. Okay, so we have our last pitch. It is Patrick Hunter, Art and Design. Patrick Hunter, Art and Design is an Indigenous-influenced art studio that seeks to invoke positive emotions in those that view the artwork and use the products. Patrick Hunter is a two-spirited Ojibwe fine artist, graphic designer, and entrepreneur. He is best known for his paintings, which are inspired by fellow woodland artist Norval Moroso. I should know how to say this because he's one of my most favorite artists, Moroso. You can correct me if I'm wrong. As well as the landscape artists landscape artist of the Canadian group of 7. His original art pieces and prints hang in homes and buildings around the world, most notably being Toronto City Hall, CBC headquarters, the Prince's Trust Canada, CTV television show, The Cardinal. Aside from his paintings, Patrick's graphic artwork has also become popular with medium to large businesses as well as corporate Canada. Since 2015, Patrick has become a leader in Indigenous design, collaborating and designing for companies such as eBay Canada, Staples Promotional Products, West Elm, SIGG Water Bottles, RBC, and TD Bank. Patrick will be pitching on providing an educational team-building exercise to EY. Patrick?
Good morning, beautiful people. Good morning, EY. It's been a couple months since I've won my last pitch. I'm so glad we're hanging out today. I have a little video to kind of share with you guys. Seeing that I've kind of creeped you guys and I know a lot about you guys, I feel like it's only fair that you know a little bit more about me. So Steve in the back, if you can press play, let's hit it. So now you know a little bit more about me. And what I'm pitching is a cultural competency workshop where you can find out a little bit more about my culture through a immersive, engaging, and hopefully fun workshop. So, Kiwetanan edition the cause, Mishikando Dem, Onamani Zigagananing. I just told you in my language that my name is North Star. I'm from Red Lake, Ontario, or I didn't say Ontario, I just said Red Lake, but I'm of the Turtle Clan, and as some of you are kind of confused with my English name is Patrick, but my Ojibwe name is North Star, and that name was given to me because from my elder after I completed what's called a vision quest, and it's what happens when you want to become a contributing member of your community. Just making sure my fly's up. And I was given that name because my lot in life is to be of service, and through that service, the name is derived because during the time before Google Maps, Grindr, compasses, people would look to the North Star to find where they needed to go. So that's what I'm here to do. I'm here to be of service, and oh yeah, this part. So I heard a phrase yesterday, which was, you don't know what you don't know until someone tells you. And there's a lot that the current culture, mainstream culture, doesn't know about Indigenous culture, which pretty much every Indigenous person knows, but we're pretty humble people, and don't overly express what we're all about and what's happened and things like that. So you don't know what you don't know until I tell you. And did you know that in speaking my language, what I did earlier, like that could be punishable, if not by death or anything like that, but I think there was a lot of kids that wanted to die when they were in residential school. The last residential school closed in 1996, and they started like in 1886. So there's information there that is important for mainstream culture to know about Indigenous people, that maybe they're just afraid to ask. So through my cultural competency workshop, we can have those conversations about, why are they always so late to get anywhere they want to go? What's the, do they pay tax? Like, there's always that fun question as well. And I think that, through my workshop, it would be easy for everyone to just be in an engaging environment together. As you can see, you can learn how to paint, which is a fun part of it. I hope that's not scary for some people. You might not come out of there with a masterpiece, but what you will come out of there with is knowledge about a culture that you didn't have before. And you'll learn a little bit about the history of a woodland art form as well. And I think that's super important for a company like EY, who is such a leader in LGBT supplier diversity. As someone who wants to be a leader in the field, I think it's important to create a culture where you can empower your staff to know a lot more. And that's sort of what I'm trying to pitch to you guys today. Thank you very much, and that's about it.
So that was amazing. I'm so thrilled. Let's give them all a hand. They did great. I think we're so fortunate to have had everyone, participate in the pitch. We're hoping that we encourage others to join us if we continue to do this next year, which I think we've kind of decided that we'd like to try and make another go at this. I want to thank every single one of you for all your hard work. It is because of you that we're able to do this, and it takes a lot of courage to get up and pitch on a business, and to share yourself, openly. So thank you for that. And we look forward to having our next pitch. So without further ado, we are going to go away. We're going to deliberate, and we will be back at lunch with the selection of the winners. So thank you so much for your time today.
Before we announce the awards, I want to take a minute to recognize Lori Benson. It is her purpose and her passion that fuels all of us at EY to find new and innovative ways to support certified suppliers like the EY Pitch Competition. Thank you, Lori. I also want to recognize all of the LGBT businesses that took part in the pitch competition over the course of the last year, many of whom are in this room right now. They included Peter from Mellow Hawk Logistics, Javier Santos from House of Purpose, Rafiq Riyad from Buy Good Feel Good, Alex Varicchio from Up House, Charles McFarland from Theatre of Commerce, and Benjamin Gibson and Chris Burke from Toronto Creatives. Consider this a call to all entrepreneurs in this room to join our pitch competition next year. In addition for competing for real prizes, each finalist is paired with a senior mentor from EY to help them refine and enhance their pitch. Okay, now let's get to the main event. Can I please ask for Kai, Connie, and Patrick to join us on stage? What we found so inspiring about each of the entrepreneurs that are on stage is that they're not only focused on creating economic opportunity, but each one of them has a social purpose in mind that aims to improve the lives of all those they encounter. The world needs more inspiring LGBT entrepreneurs like the three of you. Patrick, we are so impressed with how you're using art and creativity to build awareness to Indigenous issues, targeting reconciliation. Your talents are immense, and your purpose is inspiring. Connie, you are the mad scientist, the disruptor, the innovator, and a force to be reckoned with. The ingenuity that you have demonstrated to solve energy poverty in this world in a sustainable fashion will have an impact on generations to come. Kai, your ability to see issues that we didn't even know exist in our workplace is bringing diversity and inclusion to a whole nother level. We are so inspired by your mission to make sure that our trans and non-binary communities, which are amongst the most marginalized, are supported, welcomed, and have their needs addressed. In fact, we are so moved today that I'm thrilled to announce that with the support and approval of our firm's CFO, Alan Smith, who was on the judging panel, that EY would like to move forward with doing business with each of our finalists today. So, Patrick, we'd like to commission artwork for you to proudly display it in our Clients Experience Center at the EY Tower in Toronto. Connie, we would like to buy your Grengen Power battery system to help power all of our off-site events and feature you as our exclusive power provider. And Kai, we would like to move forward with your proposal from this morning and want to engage you to help us address issues that are unique to our trans and non-binary community. Okay, our first award to one of the finalists comes with full registration to attend next year's CGLCC Summit. And this first award goes to Patrick Hunter of Patrick Hunter Art and Design. Our top prize this year, which comes with a $5,000 full scholarship to the Tuck Executive Education Program at Dartmouth, and the title of EY and CGLCC Pitch Competition Winner 2019, goes to Kai Scott of TransFocus Consulting. We're not done. Our next Best Pitch Award, which comes with full registration for the 2019 NGLCC conference, which coincides with the second government-led LGBT trade mission in Tampa, Florida, goes to Connie Stacy from Growing Greener Innovations. We know LGBT entrepreneurs are unstoppable, so let's see if you have what it takes to take it to the stage next year and pitch your heart out. Thanks, and see you next year.